Good morning. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Lynnita. I just wanted to say a couple of things about our time in Ghana. So in a couple of weeks, Jennifer, who is here this morning, is going to come and give what they say in Ghana. She's going to give the real meat of the meal. She's going to give you a full update. But mostly I think we wanted to say thank you. Thank you for your prayers, for your interest in what we've been doing. They just meant so much. I think Ghana turns my world upside down every time I'm there, and this was no exception. This was just an amazing visit that we had. And I think one of the things that struck me in a new way was just how important prayer is to everything that is going on there, how foundational it is, and how it is just woven into everything that's happening there. And so I'd like to share just a couple of quick stories with you about what I think we saw witnessed there. We were there for the opening of a hospital, but the other event that we got to take part in was opening of the Carpenter Church, this beautiful facility seating 500 people. It's going to be able to be used for some training opportunities, conferences for peace building. And while we were in the service, Lucy, who is an elderly woman there, I think she's testified at every service I've ever been in at the Carpenter Church, she talked about when this church started and about the importance of prayer then. And she remembers it because it started in her bedroom. There were 2 or 3 people who would gather, they would meet, they would pray, and then eventually there were more, and they would spill out onto the veranda. And then this group of people, they started to pray that they would be able to build a building to worship in. And they had their eye on this plot of land close to the road. It was going to be great. But the problem was that that land had a sacred tree on it that was essential for the worship that was going on in that village. And so when they asked the chief and the elders for the land, there was like a no way. They were worshiping there. And so they prayed. And sometime later, lightning struck. And the tree was destroyed. And the elders and chief came and said, Korowi, God of all, obviously wants this land. You can have it. And so they built that little church that you see there now, and we have worshiped in there for years and years. And that church was removed so that this new facility could be built. And Lucy reminded us that day that where we were worshiping, God had claimed this land, and God had claimed this church. It was beautiful. As part of the service, too, a group of about 10 men and women, pastors in the area, stood up and they sang for us as part of it. We realized as the days went by that they had actually come for the week earlier to fast and pray specifically for the 2 events that were happening that weekend. And they were fasting and praying well into the night, at least to midnight or beyond, based on what they were saying, and praying for the success of the events. And one of their specific prayer requests was that everyone would go, or everyone would come to the events, and everyone would leave, and there would be no incidents, no unfavorable incidents on the road, that everyone would travel safely. It was a good reminder of just how precious safety is for them. But fast forward a couple of days to our return trip home, and I think that we saw those prayers coming to fruition for us as well, and yours as well. In Ghana, we always make a plan A and a plan B. My Aunt Brenda and I typically do plan C and D as well. On our way home, those plans went sideways, and I did look down at one point, and my aunt had actually texted me saying, Plan F. It was not going well. The bus had broken down. There were complications getting another one. We hit a freak traffic jam. And it was obvious that we were not going to make a really important connecting flight that we needed in order to be able to return on time. And so then a request came from Brenda and David and the people who were praying back in Carpenter for us, pray for a charter flight. Okay, so this is Ghana, and this is Kumasi. There are not a lot of airlines servicing Kumasi to begin with. And the idea that any one of them would have a flight-worthy aircraft just hanging around for us to be able to charter was a little bit impossible. But on the bus, Dale Dawson, pastor at UBC, who was traveling with us, we prayed for a charter flight. And me of little faith, I was trying to figure out how I was going to explain to Brad that it would take $2,000 more and a couple more days for me to get home. It just seemed very unlikely. But when we got to Kumasi, after a few negotiations, unbelievably, there was a charter aircraft for us. And I haven't even had a chance to tell Jennifer this, but I happened to be at the front of the boarding area when one of the flight crew for the charter came running across the tarmac. They were obviously committed to getting us to Accra on time. And he called me, he said, "Bring your people, come with me quickly, we're taking you to Accra." So I was jogging along with him. He was going at quite a clip, and trying to thank him for his commitment to getting us to Accra on time. He kind of smiled and he said, "In fact, 2 planes arrived to take you people, and I want you to get on that one because it's the fastest." It was just another amazing example of God moving for us and providing us a plane with options so that we could take the fastest trip back. We made the flight in 30 minutes. It usually takes 45 to 50. When we landed, we realized again just how amazingly God had gone before us and had the right people with us on that trip who were able to make the right connections. We were able to be navigated past some traffic that would have held us up. There was an escort to help some of us through the security lineup so that we weren't delayed there, and everyone made their flights, and all of their baggage went with them as well. It was an incredible answer to prayer and to those pastors' prayers that everyone would come and everyone would leave and there would be no unfavorable incidents on the way. So thank you. Thank you for being a part of the prayer team for us for that whole week. And I know that a few of you, when things started to go sideways, we asked you to just be praying for us then. And so thank you. Through our prayers, I think we are a part of the transformation that is going on there. And it's a beautiful thing to be a part of. So in a couple of weeks, come back and Jen will have many more stories and much better photos for you. Thanks.